today's episode of That Was Us, we'll be discussing Season 1, Episode 4. Jack and Rebecca take Kevin, Kate, and Randall to the community swimming pool. Kevin auditions for his first Broadway play. Toby bumps into his ex-wife at a restaurant. And William is mistaken as a loiterer in Randall's neighborhood.
When it comes to skincare, it all comes down to the routine. It's time to say hello to Ritual.
Listen, nobody knows better than me that there are a lot of daily skincare products on the market claiming to help reduce fine lines and wrinkles. But how do you know your products are actually working, people?
Well, Ritual is here for your skincare routine. They created a wrinkle support skin supplement and conducted a clinical study to take the guesswork out of skincare.
Guys, do you think I wake up like this?
No.
I do.
It's very kind of you.
You get a little help,
it's
right?
It's very kind of you. It don't crack, but it can a little bit, which is why you need Ritual and something like Hyacera. You got to stay moisturized. Mm-hmm. You got to take care of your skin. It's the largest organ in our body.
That's right.
Take care of your skin.
Not just from the outside in, but from the inside out.
Come on now. It'll take care of you.
Let me tell you about Hyacera. Hyacera is a once daily skin supplement clinically proven to reduce wrinkles and fine lines and increase skin smoothness in 90 days. In a clinical study, Hyacera led to a 3.6 times reduction in crow's feet wrinkles within 90 days and led to a 2.9 times increase in skin smoothness within 90 days as compared to a placebo.
Ritual is also known for their industry-leading sustainability standards. Ritual uses lower carbon packaging, prioritizes sustainably sourced ingredients, and sets ambitious climate goals. Plus, as a female-founded B Corp, they're holding themselves accountable to not just their company's financial health, but also the health of people and our planet.
Let's go.
Yes.
Start Hyacera to help minimize wrinkles without compromising on clean science. Hyacera from Ritual is a clinically proven skin supplement you can actually trust.
Get 25% off your first month for a limited time at ritual.com/TWU. Start Ritual or add Hyacera to your subscription today. That's ritual.com/TWU for 25% off.
Welcome back, friends.
Welcome. Good to see you all.
Good to see you as well. I love this.
Another episode of That Was Us, man. We're delving into 104.
104. The
Working
pool.
title, The Pool. A lot of days at the pool.
I was about to say, rewatching this episode, I was like, wow, had I known then what I know now, how much time we as a collective Pearson family were going to spend at this pool.
Yeah.
Even in the final season, like we went back to this pool many a time.
Yeah.
It was in Long Beach. It was a trek.
Yes.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time there. We directed some of the last the episodes that Justin and Milo and I directed together in the final season. We were back at the pool.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of deep connection with the Pearsons in this pool. It was like a seminal part of their childhood.
In season 1, like on this particular episode, were they long days? Were they short days? Were they hectic? Were they pretty?
They were long days. There were hectic days. I mean, we're talking about working with these incredible children who are very new to being in front of the camera, and obviously they're children.
With a pool.
They're 8 with a pool with lots of other children that are working. So it's like it was had its own challenges working with that many extras.
Jeez.
We started filming, I believe this was like in August, I want to say, so it was still exceedingly hot outside. Everyone was happy to have any chance to get into the pool when they could. Yeah. There was just this was like the first location shooting for us that I remember was like, whoa, this is chaotic with 3 kids, all of these extras, 2 directors. Yeah. Like there was a lot going on.
It felt chaotic.
Yeah.
Rewatching it.
As it should have. I mean, that's what they were endeavoring to do, right?
The first thing that I remember the episode, we're with the Pearsons. The air conditioning's not working. Folks are trying to figure out what's going on. And you see Kate come out in her Care Bear bikini. So sweet.
So cute.
So free and just sort of like liberated, right?
Yeah.
Knowing like how things are, like what her life has in store for her as it goes through. Like, what was it like just rewatching that scene for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it brought me back. I absolutely remember filming all of this. It to me was interesting to go back and say like, oh, this is the episode where you start to see the dynamic between Rebecca and Kate sort of start to solidify and understand the repercussions that it has from childhood all the way into adulthood and why their relationship sort of like sits in the place that it does present day. So that was interesting. And you're right. It's like being a parent now, watching this show back has just entirely new meaning, but I don't have a daughter. My kids are still much younger than the kids are at this particular juncture. But it just made me clutch my chest thinking that anybody, anywhere would want to insult or hurt your child purposefully. I completely understand Jack's, Jack's like just immediacy of wanting to like save his daughter, go talk to those other kids that were rude to her at the pool. That was my immediate reaction.
I was having visceral surprisingly visceral reactions.
Yes.
To not just my own childhood, like things popping up, the interesting cycle of bully and bullied in my life.
Sure.
Where I would try to grip back the control or the power and like become a bully.
By turning it on to somebody else, it takes it off of you.
And just like watching it from all angles. And my son is only 3 and has already been bullied at a park by older girls because he was wearing pink shoes. He loved pink. And that was like where I talked to Rach. I was like, listen, Rach, I'm working on myself. I'm gonna grow, but right now you have to handle this stuff because I will lay into those girls.
Yes.
I could feel it coming up and like I want to step to them like, I'm sorry, miss. Do we have a problem? Like, I don't know how to deal with this situation. I didn't know how to deal with it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I definitely haven't figured out how to deal with it now.
Sure.
It's all happening in real time.
Yeah.
And so as I was watching the episode and I could, she comes out in her bathing suit and I'm like, oh, right. This episode.
Yeah.
Where she has to go through this with her peers was just, I was surprised.
And watch her
at my
reckoning that like, oh, wow, this is her first realization that she is different and maybe not in a way that she wants to be.
Right.
And this is something that is going to haunt her for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Is gutting.
Right.
So here's an interesting side note. I'm going to catch you guys off guard. I can remember a point in time in my life when I was young, maybe 8 or 9 or something. I had to do shirts and skins in basketball. And I did not want to be skins because I did not like the way that I looked. I did not like the way that I looked. And it was one of those moments, like real moments where I was like, I'm going to make sure that never happens again.
Really?
Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
For real. Like, like was baby fat, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the situation was. I was uncomfortable in my skin. And I was like, no, never again.
As a metaphor, it is those moments where as kids we eat from the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
And exit the garden.
Right.
The innocence.
The innocence is gone.
The self-awareness, the betrayal of a peer, the bullying, whatever it is. These little that chip away at that. And I guess I'm slowly realizing like I'm not sure if it's my job as a parent put scaffolding around that for my kids as long as possible.
Yeah.
To like let them stay there as long as possible.
Sure.
And I don't know if that's helpful or if that's harmful or how to guide them through all that stuff because those wounds, they are what make us who we are.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yeah.
And so helping my kids through those things is so important. And I'm still trying to figure out how to do that.
Life be lifing. And the instinct of as a parent is to sort of like shield your child
That's our first t-shirt.
From life.
Yeah.
But you can't.
You can't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you try to give them a safe place to land where they can share what life has been like for them. And you can offer perspective or a different thought because they may just see that event in one particular way. So like staying with the pool for a minute, like I feel like it's kind of because it's sort of the theme that sort of wraps this episode around. It was really interesting for me to see. First of all, I started to really profoundly understand America's love affair with Jack Pearson. Because I'll be damned if this man is not right there.
Yeah.
For like Johnny on the motherfucking spot for his kids.
Yeah.
That whole thing with the shirt for his daughter.
Yeah.
Is remarkable.
Yeah.
But even more so for me, watching it as a parent, I
Yes.
was like, when he owns his shit, when he takes accountability with Kevin.
Yes.
When young little Parker, who did an exceptional job,
Exceptional.
comes up and says, like, I was totally forgotten. When Jack is like, you're right.
Yeah.
You were, we did, my bad. I'm not going to let that happen again. I was like, oh, wow.
Yes.
That's how you do
There's-
that as a
there's a
parent.
lesson.
There's a lesson. I'm like, I will do that one
Yeah.
day when my child is old enough and I do something
Yeah.
where he feels neglected
I just
or
have to
something.
say, like,
I've already had to do that.
Wait, this line makes me so happy. You're so busy making sure Kate's not eating too much, and Randall isn't too adopted. And meanwhile, where's Kevin? Oh, guess what? He's dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, the birth of an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, the character. Like, that is the moment
Yeah,
that
where you're
Kevin
like,
Pearson is
oh,
like,
he's
you know
going
what
to
I'm
be
going
an
to do?
actor.
I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to get on camera. I'm going to make sure I'm
People
never
are gonna
ignored.
notice me.
I will never be ignored for the rest of my life.
Oh, what a delivery! But you're right. That accountability, because it's interesting. To a certain extent, I think I grew up with parents. I think my mom did apologize, and I think my dad did too. But I think a lot of people of our generation may not have grown up with parents who admitted mistakes in the same way.
Yeah.
But like that admittance gives permission for the kid to be like, all right, I'm not crazy. I'm not making this up. I'm not gaslighting myself.
Right,
So
right,
it was
right.
you're right. It was a gorgeous moment.
It was gorgeous. And obviously, the story that he tells Kate about the shirt and making her feel safe and comfortable, like
Yeah.
all of that was, you're right. It's so beautiful. And it's a moment where you're like, I understand America's love
Yes.
affair with Jack
Yeah.
Pearson.
But so now here's too an understanding of Randall and Rebecca of a little R&R, because she couldn't find her son. She's wondering where this little dude is. And so it turns out he wants to go to this particular pool because it has a greater presence of black folks there, right? And sort of starved for that sort of connective tissue to his culture in that way. So you go and you find him. And this was a really delightful moment for me because you have a conversation with my wife.
yes, your real wife.
With my real wife, Ryan Michelle Bethay. And she's like, you have to find him a real barber, somebody who knows how to cut his hair. He got to clear up them razor bumps. And you just see Rebecca like, I don't know if I like this broad telling me how to raise. She's like, this is my child. And like, man, the fierceness with which it came out, it was like, I was like, she a mama, right? And you were not a mama at the time. But you're like, you're not going to come after me and my child because this is my boy.
There are a few moments of fierceness in these early episodes from you.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I do not want to be on the other end of that. It is real good.
It's so defensive, though. I watch it and I'm like, oh, Rebecca.
Listen,
Well, sure.
You were allowed that space because you come back and you're like,
You're right.
do you have the name of a bar?
Yeah.
You also
And
end up admitting.
Yeah, I want my kids to be able to play with your kids. Like, she recognizes the importance. And this episode was revelatory in that way, too. I'm like, wow, the conversation that this show is willing to have about race.
Yeah.
In 2016,
Yeah.
well before, the giant reckoning that we had as a country.
Sure.
I was like, this is like, it was so ahead of its time in that sense. I feel like that I was so struck by that. I was so like mystified that like, wow, I knew it at the time. And when I was watching it and doing it and all of that, but like understanding it in context now in 2024, I'm like, this was really like going out on a limb in a way that like no other network show was having these sorts of conversations. And especially with obviously the entire storyline with Randall and William and the reckoning that you have to have with your own sense of who you are and the fact that not making apologies for being a black man raised by white parents and living in a white family. Like it just, all of it, I was like, wow, how beautifully woven it was all together.
Yeah.
And I think the simple fact is Jack and Rebecca were aware of raising a black son, but they were also like, I think the sort of white issue of like, we are colorblind, like this is our son. And like maybe the idea of like, we don't have to reconcile with the fact completely that we are raising a black child because he is our son, he is our family. And I think Rebecca's immediate sort of defense of that to Yvette said that very, very plainly. But I love I love that it comes back around and she's able to admit sort of like, I think this is an important thing that we are missing as parents. Like, we need to know, we know that he has to wear sunscreen, obviously.
Right.
You know, like those.
Right?
That was a good conversation.
Right?
Like, he
Yes,
does
I know
need
that.
sunscreen.
No, I knew
By
that.
the way, I'm notoriously bad about putting on sunscreens. I need to do
Sterling.
much better. This is true. You're right. I
need
know.
it.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Sun protection. But that was a huge takeaway for me that I guess like reflecting now, being a parent, living in 2024, I was like, wow, this show really had something to say. It's just like, it was so immediately challenging. Fourth
Yeah.
episode, it was like, boom, we're going to
Yeah.
talk about it.
I've heard you mention that in interviews, actually, that you were almost immediately aware of the importance of Randall's story based on our audience,
Yeah.
specifically.
To have a primetime network television show where one of your characters is African American, but knowing that the audience is going to be diverse and white at all, okay?
Sure.
But that these conversations were not ones that they were necessarily privy of until possibly they watched this show.
Sure.
Right? Like, it's interesting. I've had these moments of seeing families who have an adopted child, transracial adoptee or whatnot, and you'll see how the kid's hair is. And Ryan and I have actually been like, I want to help them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to overstep my bounds or anything, but I was like,
Yeah.
this kid needs some moisturizer in his hair. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because you know that they don't know.
Right.
And they're not doing anything nefarious. It's just, you know what you know until you know more.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
I think, like, and watching this episode in particular, just sort of like, it's the beginning of Randall grappling with his own identity is.
Yes.
Because, and I think William is able to elucidate things in a really lovely way, because some things are real for Randall and some things are just his projection of how he sees his own blackness.
Yes.
And not enoughness in that.
Okay.
Right? That initial confrontation when the security guard goes and William's gonna go literally smell the roses.
Yeah.
And people are like, you know, we saw him loitering or what have you. I can remember an instance in my youth. I was at a friend's neighborhood when he was affluent, and I was waiting for him to get home. I had driven and I got there about 20 minutes before him, and the security guard rolled up next to my car and asked me to roll down the window and asked me why I was here. And I said, I'm waiting for my friend. And they said, who's your friend? I said, he's Mark. He's going to be here any moment. And they're like, okay, because it just seems like you're sitting here for an inordinate amount of time. I was like, I didn't know I was doing anything, but I had caught people's attention, you know? So it was a very full circle sort of moment, being like on the opposite side, and then being on the side of trying to be the peacemaker is a weird sort of like interesting thing, because Randall has to live here. These are his neighbors. I'm not trying to rock the boat, but because I'm not trying to rock the boat doesn't mean that I am not acutely aware of my blackness all the time.
Sure.
Right? In my family, outside of my family, like, I know what it is. When it comes full circle around, and there's the moment when he's watching Snow White. His daughter's playing Snow White.
Yeah.
Irony of ironies. She is black. She is playing Snow White, right? And you see that moment when he's just sort of like abundantly aware of the white gaze of everybody watching it. And he's wondering, like, and I've had people say this, by the way, about American fiction, depending on the audience that they're in. It's like, why are you laughing at this, sir? You laughing at this because you find it funny, and why do you find it fun? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, are you laughing with me? Are you laughing at me?
And I feel like that's part of the point of American
Yes.
fiction too.
Yes.
Is when I'm watching it and laughing.
Yeah.
Why am I laughing
Sure.
at this?
Sure. And so, like, when he has that conversation with William, and he reveals his journal about meeting the black people and wondering if this black man could be his father or whatnot, and then sort of taking it back to how he parents. Like, he talks about the love that he has for his parents, which I think is always like very, like, there's never a moment of doubt. Hopefully not in the audience's mind, certainly not in mine, of his love for Jack and Rebecca.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, zero, zip, you know, there's just certain things that they could not have given him by virtue of who they are,
Sure.
right? And so this is the seed that starts to, like, germinate in terms of his not enoughness, his own perception of not enoughness, right? And it sort of drives him in a very intense way until he's able to have like some sort of peace of like, I am enough. I think that happens over the course of the show.
Yeah.
He never wants to feel that way again.
Yeah, never wants to feel.
Yeah.
Well played. Yeah. Well played. But it was such a gorgeous moment because Ron goes.
He says, "You're doing everything right, son." That broke me.
Jeez.
Broke me.
Sis, I was watching and I was like, all right, I already done this thing, but you got me too.
And he calls you son.
He called me son.
If you were to typify exactly what you wanted to hear
Right.
as a child,
Yeah.
coming from your biological
Sure.
father who abandoned you, who's just meeting you, who's now, you know, very involved in your life for like a concentrated little, you know,
Yeah.
period of time, his observation to be like, let me just give you this. You're
Yeah.
doing everything right. It's like,
And who knows if there's such thing? I always wonder, is there such thing as making up for lost time? But in that moment, I was like, that's what Randall needed, and his dad was there to give it to him.
yeah,
Right.
maybe for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty gorgeous.
More That Was Us after this short break.
When it comes to wireless contracts, we know one thing. There is always a catch. But now we have Mint Mobile. They've eliminated the fine print and the dreaded catch.
So when we heard that for a limited time, all Mint Mobile wireless plans are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, we thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them, it made sense.
There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they sell wireless service online. They don't have retail stores or salespeople. Instead, they deliver premium phone plans directly to you.
And these plans are unlimited, so you can talk as long as you want to as many people as you want, just like we do on the Emotional Support Hotline.
There you go. Money don't grow on trees, baby. So, bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month.
All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. So use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts.
Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's limited time deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/TWU. That's mintmobile.com/TWU.
Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/TWU.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Wow, that is impressive, Saul.
Ditch those meal planning woes and dive into HelloFresh's biggest menu yet with over 45 recipes and even more market items to choose from every single week. Make delicious food a priority this summer with quick, convenient recipes delivered right to your door.
Listen, just choose your meals and select the delivery date. HelloFresh handles all the meal planning, shopping, and most of the prep, so all you have to do is open your box and get cooking.
Wake up your taste buds and get summer ready with balanced, fit, and wholesome recipes chock full of fresh produce and under 650 calories per serving.
Nice. You know, I ask myself sometimes, why is having a delivery service like HelloFresh so helpful in saving time shopping for groceries? Because everything is pre-planned. It's all packaged. It's all delicious. It gives you the number of calories all in one thing. It makes it easy. When you get on these fitness regimens and you got to take your shirt off, Saul, in front of the camera, you want to know that you are extra tight. Your fuel makes a difference.
I got HelloFresh for the first time a couple of years back when we were cooking a lot at home. I don't know if you remember those couple of years when we were at home a bunch. And we were cooking all these meals and making all this stuff. And then we got signed up with HelloFresh and got the exact amount of groceries we needed to make the exact recipe we needed for 2 people. And when Rachel and I saw the serving sizes for the 2 of us, we're like, oh, is this how much one person is supposed to eat? Because we were eating mountains of food. But HelloFresh showed us the way to healthy eating.
Amen.
When you sign up today, you'll unlock free appetizers for life. Get the party started or enjoy a little pre-dinner treat with an appetizer of your choice in every HelloFresh box for free.
So, folks, just go to HelloFresh.com/TWU apps for free appetizers for life. One appetizer item per box while subscription is active. That's free appetizers for life at HelloFresh.com/TWU apps, America's #1 meal kit.
Were these storylines, were these active conversations that you were having with
the
writers
writers?
and things?
Yes, because I would go into the writer's room and they would either tell me like things that they had planned or whatnot, and I would sort of echo and be like, oh, that's interesting because I've had this life experience. It's been, something that's close. And so like either my talking about it might have helped to elucidate it just a little bit more, but they were there already on that road. I think, we had, in season 1, we had Oren, we had Keoyegu and whatnot, who were both Black writers who were sort of sharing their stories, and sort of there was an amalgam of things that sort of came together. And then I got to give Fogelman credit here too, because he's such a brilliant writer, and he's also has such a lack of ego that like if he needs help in sort of like understanding something to a fuller extent, like you sit there and you see him listen and absorb, and be like, oh, that needs to be part. Like it's a wonderful thing. You guys went to the writer's room.
Yes.
You went.
Yeah,
I just went a whole bunch.
You went a lot. You went a lot.
And I think that was because you were talking about in an earlier episode, like not knowing a lot about TV and da-da-da-da. I'd done a TV show called Army Wives, and it was another 6-year run of a TV show. And I remember thinking like, oh, I should have gotten more input on this show, because if they knew my voice better, they could have possibly written. So I got a second chance.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
To be able to use that information.
Yeah.
I would get in the writer's room and be like, "Hey, get you guys anything?" I didn't know what to do or what to say or how to participate, if I even could.
Let's get to you and Kate.
Yes,
Toby and
please.
Kate, and seeing the X.
Yes.
I want to kind of go through it chronologically, because Kate's like, she sees you talking to this pretty woman. She's like, who's that? And you're like, that's my ex-wife. And you could see her face like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, how did that? Yeah, I didn't know that happened like that. Like, and it's interesting because in real time, for both of you, this is, I think, an interesting thing. Because I remember talking to you about season 1, and people having like a really interesting relationship with Rebecca early on, vis-a-vis like how they saw Jack.
Yes.
There was love for Jack, and there was like, oh no.
Yeah, arms crossed about Rebecca.
And there was love for Kate, and they're like, this Toby.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What's he
and
up
so,
to?
and I think it really sort of happens in like, he was married to this woman who had a different figure than Kate's.
Yeah.
And they're like, can he really be attracted to that and that? Right?
That was the conversation.
That was the conversation. But I also really loved in this particular episode, it was the first time that I think we got a chance to see somebody be mad at somebody. And you were pissed, but it was
Warranted,
earned.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was completely and totally earned, and it wasn't like I'm getting out of it. Was the kind of pissed that's like, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But like, you can't just do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're bringing up a lot of stuff for me, and when you go through what that breakup meant and did to you, talk about it.
I mean, when Toby was first introduced to me, I had the same questions. I was like, "This guy, who is this guy? What am I doing with this guy?"
Yeah.
And this is the first episode where you get a little glimpse at how we got here.
Way to bring it around.
Two callbacks. I love it.
Early on, season 1, there were also a lot of questions about a man playing someone larger than he was.
Right.
Me wearing a quote unquote fat suit.
Sure.
And people who wanted to talk about that or write about that were unaware of the fact that this show travels back and forth through time as much as it does,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they knew, but they hadn't seen Toby do this. And
Right.
so what you learn through this interaction very quickly is that this man used to be smaller than he is now.
Sure.
He went through something and gained almost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is also where we're introduced to his anxiety and his
Depression.
Yeah.
which is when I did have something to talk to the writers about.
Sure. That line about like I was almost suicidal or maybe not, and then you're like, no, actually,
Yeah.
that was real.
Yeah. Why am I softening this?
Yeah.
I loved that it was the first time we really saw Toby's vulnerability. Because as you said, it's like he was this larger than life, like he was real levity on the show and humor, and there was also the giant question mark of like, is there like real validity here? Like, does he
Yeah.
really, is he here for the right reasons?
Yeah.
But to just lay it all out the way you did for the first time was like, oh no, this is someone of substance. This is
Sure.
someone to be taken seriously. Like,
Right.
this is no lightweight. He's lived a life,
Right.
and he has all this experience to back it up. And I was just, I mean, also you're just an incredible actor, and it was so fun to watch
Yeah.
that, like, just that turn for you. Again, like rewatching the show, it's like, oh wow, I didn't know he had those flavors and colors as a person. Like,
Yeah.
it made you love the character even more.
Yeah.
Just learning more.
There was something about allowing that type of interaction. I remember thinking about this when I was rehearsing it. Like, this is not coming from someone inside the family.
Right.
Like, this family already 4 or 5 episodes in is holy.
Yeah.
Like, these characters are set.
Sure.
Right. And there was something when I read that part, was like, okay, this is the writers forming, not only kind of letting Toby in a little more,
Yeah.
giving him emotional access more than just romantic interest.
Yeah.
It's a similar tone thing that Rebecca does very early on with Jack about like, listen, the tone it down monologue.
Yeah.
Right.
I had recently gotten into couples therapy myself.
Okay.
And it was like such an interesting, again, a lesson
Yeah.
in, okay, you're going to fight. How do you fight well? If you're going to have these conflicts, how do you do it well?
Right.
And how do you navigate it in a way that is not holding anything back, expressing the feelings that you need to express, but also still taking care of the other person.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We seasons later, people start saying things that are harder to take back.
Sure.
But in
Yes.
these earlier fights, it's like, okay. And then at the end, this is how they settle, and this is how they land that plane.
Yeah.
And this is how Toby's sense of humor is helpful to land this fight into a place of, but we're still here.
Yeah.
Like, you know that because we're fighting doesn't
mean anybody's about to blow anything up. It just means that I gotta get this out.
And it felt really good as an actor, honestly, to get that, to have that moment
Yeah.
with her.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah,
It was
gorgeous.
gorgeous. I agree with Mandy 100%. Masterfully executed by you, sir. And also there's a deep empathy for Kate. If I saw that woman and she was with my man,
Oh yeah.
I'm like, who is this chick and why is she
And-
like so?
She's perfect.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. It was really funny.
Yeah, she was not only beautiful, an incredible actor,
Yeah.
played by Natalia Sigliuti.
There you go.
Again, the way that Dan and the writers instantly can raise 1,000 questions without asking anything.
Yeah.
Just showing you, literally, you don't even hear the conversation.
You don't hear a
You
single
just see
thing.
Toby
It's
and
like
us
a
talking.
little hug, you know.
Yeah, you see a
Yeah.
hug.
And you come back to the table.
Yeah. Oh, that was my.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Can we move to Kevin Pearson for a second?
Kevin in New York City.
You guys, Kevin's audition for this play, it makes me pee on myself.
It's epic.
You know how hard it is for an actor that good to be that bad, for lack of a better word?
I texted Justin last night. I said, I'm just rewatching the show, and I just wanted to remind you of how brilliant you are in case you forgot. That was it. Because
And he just texted back, I know. Or
Copy that.
I haven't forgotten.
He's sitting there. So Janet Montgomery is playing the actress who's like the lead.
Olivia, I
Tony.
believe. Yeah.
British. Totally British.
Yeah.
And he's listening to her do the thing. He's like, that's really good.
Yeah.
It's a good American accent.
That's a good accent.
It's like asking an incredible actor to sing off key. Like, have you ever had to like pretend like you can't sing, and it still sounds pretty good? Like,
it was so good and so awkward, and he wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
And he talks about like, I know what you guys think about like, you know, I'm coming in from the West Coast, from TV show and movie. I'm here for the right reasons. I'm here for the right reasons.
have you early on in your career, have you ever looked back on some of your auditions and be like, what was I doing? Early on in my theater auditions, I like came in and there, you know, sometimes when you audition for theater, there's like 8 people sitting behind folding tables. And like early on, it'd be like, how you doing? Chris Sullivan next to me, and shaking hands with every single one. And one's like, none of them are even looking at you.
I'm like, great, bro. Let's hear the scene.
It's so awkward.
But his,
Yeah, that delivery. When he's like, let me take that again.
yeah, like
Can we start over?
the way
Back
that
to
it
one, back
was,
to one.
Yeah, back to...
because he treated it like a camera, like he was
Yeah. Can we take it again? Let's take it again.
so.
God, yeah, Justin's so good.
And okay,
This is also where we meet for the first time briefly Milana Weintraub
yes,
as the
Who
playwright.
plays
as the
Sloan, I believe is her.
yes, who owns AT&T?
Yes, she's one of the CEOs. She's the CFO of AT&T.
You know, so wait, okay. So going back to him being an actor and sort of like, where does Kev fit in? And this is a really interesting thing, I think, for me personally. Well, not me personally, just in terms of like the larger conversation about, this is going to feel weird, but bear with me.
Sure.
Do white men get to like have problems? Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like
when you're this talented, this
when
good looking, this successful.
You're handsome, you're wealthy, you know have all these things going for you, and on the outside it seems like all the privilege is geared towards you.
Yeah.
Do you still get a chance? I'm still a human being who's still living a life, and like I still have wants and needs and desires, and there's holes that are missing in me that I need to get filled up.
Right.
And I think it's a really interesting way of like not hitting anybody over the head with it or whatnot, because Kev's not the kind of person who would bring it up himself.
Sure.
Right.
He's not that dude. Like he's gonna try to figure out how to make things move forward.
He brought it up by becoming an actor.
By becoming an actor.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's a really interesting thing. Like, because it's easy. This is sounds weird for coming from me, I'm just be honest. To go after white dudes.
Go on.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank period, right?
Yeah.
But like what the show does, I think, is like stops addressing people as a monolith and starts to address them as individuals.
Right.
This person is looking for this, right? Regardless of who you are, black, white, male, female, etc. Like everybody has something that they're looking to sort of make them feel whole. And I think that the show does a really great job at that. And I keep saying this about Justin because I think he's one of the few, him and Sue, I think were two of the individuals who did not receive like individual recognition throughout the course of the run of the show, who are both exceptional from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I just want to.
Yeah, I think that is an incredibly astute observation, and I think that it is the characteristic of every character in this show that want is so well defined from the beginning, like you were talking about with Dan about everything from the beginning.
Yeah. So fully formed.
Yeah.
And that is because those wants are so fully formed.
Yeah.
And how those, taking them down from a monolith to an individual, how those wants make them the best version of themselves and the most broken version of themselves. The same want.
Sure.
Can make them the most successful, the most in shape, the most anxiety ridden to the point of panic attack.
Yeah.
You know, that these things are where these characters, the fulcrum on which their
Hinged.
life.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with more That Was Us.
Let's take a minute to talk about the good folks at Talkspace. The leading virtual therapy provider is encouraging people to talk it out in therapy.
Let's take a minute. Listen, for many people, opening up to a therapist might feel uncomfortable, cathartic, exhausting, or exhilarating. But one thing's certain. If you keep talking or texting with a licensed therapist, you'll gain insights and uncover truths that you can only find in therapy. Get those personal breakthroughs and judgment-free support by signing up for Talkspace.
Now, do you think seeing a therapist or psychiatrist would be helpful, but you don't have the time to actually find one and meet with them or afford them? Well, try Talkspace. By doing everything online, Talkspace has made getting the help you want easy, accessible, and affordable.
At Talkspace.com, you can sign up online and get a personalized match with a provider that's right for you, typically all within 48 hours.
It's incredibly convenient to have virtual sessions with your licensed therapist from the comfort of your home. There's no need to commute to appointments, miss time at work, or line up childcare in order to attend sessions. It's mental health care made easy.
Talkspace can help with any specific challenges you might be facing. It's the #1 online therapy platform with licensed therapists in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, substance abuse, relationship issues, and much more.
And we have something for you from Talkspace. Right now, they're offering every listener of this podcast $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com/TWU.
I'll save $80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/TWU to get $80 off your first month with code SPACE80 and to show your support for the show.
That's Talkspace.com/TWU, code SPACE80.
In this episode, Kevin talks about how he used to do something with Trump for...
He judged like a Miss USA
He judged
pageant.
the Miss USA pageant with Trump, and
Yeah.
then you have there's a Matt Lauer, Savannah Guthrie sort of referencing the thing.
Yeah.
I was like 2016. It's so wholesome.
Yeah. Wow. Relic of the past.
Yeah.
Kev is sort of feeling alone, like, because he has a terrible audition. He knows it. He even goes out with the girl afterwards, and they grab a drink. And in all of her kindness, I put that in quotation marks, she's like, "You shouldn't do this.
You should take a class.
You should take a class or something like that." And then Justin says, "This guy was like, you saying this as a friend?"
She's so good.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great,
Yes.
right? So he reaches out to his sister. She's obviously involved in her own relationship issues at the time. And so he's not able to make that connection. And at the end of the episode, after William and Randall have this wonderful heart-to-heart and sort of come together, Kevin shows up at the door, right? Completely unannounced. And you see this moment between Randall and Kevin, like, hey, what's up? And he's like, yeah, you don't mind if I crash for a little while? And Beth's like, yeah. It's like the times when they have a two-shot with me and Sue are kind of like some of my favorite shots.
Oh, yeah.
In the show, because like the both of us together.
When
it was like,
Sue does nothing,
yeah,
You can't take your
stop
eyes
watching.
off her.
You
Yeah.
can't-
Everything.
because the small movements in her face, especially when she has something to say, but she's not going to say it.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is my biological father. He's like, that's a larger conversation.
Conversation.
He comes in, he shakes his
Yeah.
hand, and
Yeah,
move
yeah,
it on,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
So no, those are the major things. What else do we want to talk about? Go.
I mean, the shopping trip.
The shopping trip is interesting because so he's still harboring in his soul that like he feels like William's judging him from the encounter that they had with the security guard and the neighbors early in the day. But he's gonna tell him like what my experience of blackness means is that like people will question whether or not I can afford things.
Sure.
Even though I can, they'll ask for my ID, even though they didn't ask for any of the other people's IDs. It means the security guard is watching me a little bit closer than he's watched anybody else in the store. And it's such an interesting thing because whether you're raised by black people, white people, etc., when you occupy spaces with people that do not look primarily like you, you draw attention. Right? And it's an interesting thing because I will say that Randall and I sort of share this particular thing in common, there is a need. I'll say there's a desire, but I'll say there's a need to put people at ease first so you can make sure they hear what you have to say.
Interesting.
Because there's this understanding that like some people may just on my physiognomy consider me to be a threat. And I have to let them know that I am not a threat in order to sort of move forward with like ease and grace. So Brown smiles, you know, and it's part of like who I am by nature, but it's also, I had to make sure that that was my nature to a certain extent in order to just
Navigate the world.
To not be mad all the time.
To not be mad all the time.
Like Randall says.
Like he says, right? So it's really well written. I'll say that.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thoughtful.
And it's knowing you and knowing Ron.
Yeah.
I mean, the life experiences seemed, especially rewatching it, and especially knowing Ron better now.
Yeah.
Like it seems like his life was very similar to Williams in a lot of ways. So it was that scene hit me a lot harder this time.
Yeah, same.
Than watching it 8 years ago.
There's also just like the way Ron would just be present and would listen. And he's like, you think I'm judging you. He's like, I'm not judging you. I'm not in a place where I could even be there to judge you. And like, if you need me to say something to you, I can tell you. And he says, you know, you're doing everything right.
Right. Like,
I don't know. Like, I think what you're saying is true too, because like he's not a judging person.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, with where he was with his own sort of health at that time, was like, I'm not in a position to throw stones at anybody. Right. So there was a lovely synchronicity between character and actor. And you saw it in his face. It's like, I wanna say you're doing this and you're doing that. He's like, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, well, in case you were.
I'll do it for you.
And there's something delicate about the way the writers end that scene, which with a little. No, I think the flat front
the khakis or whatever.
I think that's also Dan's superpower. Like anytime it starts to get too heavy, like he has a joke that sort of lifts you out and it's like life is going to continue, right? We're not going to end down here.
Right.
Let's get it together.
Spoonful of sugar.
There's a moment when they're going to see Snow White and he starts to talk about the school that he's taking the kids to and all the stuff that they have to offer. It's like, they got a goat.
They got goats. Yeah.
You sold it well.
It's good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we ended the episode with, again, like, I think it's like an iconic shot, the overhead shot.
The symbolism.
Everybody together. Mom's reading Misery. She's almost done, but like heads on lap and children laying down. And as you pointed out, there's this moment of Kevin feeling, you know, sort of isolated because Randall and Kate are already down and Jack grabs him and pulls him in. Mm-hmm. Brown got a little misty, man.
Yeah.
There's so much chaos at that pool.
Yeah.
And there's so much movement and motion and action and vulnerability. Like a pool. When I'm around a pool with my kids, it's like
terrifying.
I don't know if you guys are getting to this point yet. There's this guy in LA. They call him like the swim guru. I'm trying to think of his name.
There's so many of them.
Is he the one who chucks kids over his shoulder?
Yeah.
And I had my kid go there.
Yeah.
Because we have a pool and it's like, you want to make sure the kids are safe in the pool.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I thought it was a big like thing. I was like, this guy's a bunch of crap. Within 2 days, like my kid was like,
got it. Found the side.
Yeah.
But the contrast with that last shot of stillness.
Yes.
And Jack wanting to like kind of acknowledge them. Just let me, would you just, I'm on like the last page of your book. You mentioned
just let me.
Yeah.
Don't comment on the moment.
Yeah.
Don't.
Let it be.
Just let it be. And it's so cozy because I only recently had that moment for the first time in my life because these kids don't stop moving.
They don't.
And about maybe 3 or 4 days ago, they both just ended up on me. I was laying on the floor, and they both just stopped. They stopped what they were doing and just were on me.
Oh, the best.
And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And it was like right after I watched the episode too. I'm like, Rach comes in and sits down next to I'm like laying on the floor, tears are like falling down my face. She's like, you okay? I'm like, I'm so fine.
It's kind of awesome.
I'm so fine.
It's like, you remember at the beginning of the episode, he's like, I'm going to get chairs for everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah.
And he's like, he see a chair. Mine is hysterical. He's like, chair. And he just get up
it
like
jumps,
a squirrel,
hops over the thing.
going all crazy. It was one chair.
One chair at the end, because that's
we
really
needed.
all they needed.
That's all we needed.
Yeah. I loved that too.
It was pretty good.
Oh, that was us.
That was
End
That was
end
us.
of doggone episode.
well
Please
done, everybody.
rate. God, please rate.
Please rate
subscribe.
the show.
Rate,
Review.
subscribe, tell
a
your friends.
Absolutely.
Pass the word around.
We're having a good time going through it.
Honestly, like, I hope people are listening, but I just am enjoying watching the show again and being able to have someone to talk to about it besides my husband.
Totally.
It's an expensive conversation,
Yeah.
but
This is
I
just
think
for
it's
us.
worth it.
I do
I think
too.
it's worth it. It's totally worth it.
Worth it.
We don't have to film it, but we're doing it just
But we
for
are.
posterity.
We're recording it for audio, and we're going to, So in case anybody's interested, you guys can join in on this conversation.
Yeah, please reach out to us.
Yeah.
Our phone number is 412-501-3028.
Yeah, or send us a little video or a little audio message at our email, thatwasuspod@gmail.com. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Indeed. We would
That's
love
it.
that.
All right, gang. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We
So much
appreciate
fun.
it. See you next episode.
That was us. So we are back with one of our favorite segments of our episodes, the Emotional Support Hotline, presented by our friends at Talkspace. Check out your insurance coverage, and you can start speaking to a therapist today at Talkspace.com/TWU.
Now, again, let us be clear, crystal clear. We do not claim to be therapists, but we would love to talk to you.
Shall we call somebody back?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And shout out, by the way, to Mint Mobile for the unlimited phone plan.
Beep, 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 beep. Let's do it.
Okay.
Who we
Do
gonna
you have
call?
one, Sully?
Yes, I've got one here.
Come
We've got a message here from a gentle person named Aaron.
Aaron.
Oh, you guys, that voicemail got me. My God. Hey, Big Three. My name is Aaron, and I'm calling just with gratitude for the work you've done, the work the writers have done on This Is Us. I'm a Latino man who was adopted into a white family, and I never, growing up, it was not the easiest thing to be brown and in a very white neighborhood with a white family. And I never saw TV shows, movies, stories about being a person of color growing up in a white family. Oh my God, Sterling, your plot line, every week I felt like my life was just being projected on the TV. I also suffer from crippling anxiety, crippling panic attacks. I'm a workaholic. So just every week, Sterling, your plot line would have me just I'm crying right now. It would have me in pieces. I felt so seen. I could relate so deeply. So I just wanted to thank you so much. I'm also a recovering alcoholic. So Justin's plot line was just the same. It's just the honesty in the writing and the portrayal of what it's like being an alcoholic, going through recovery. I don't know. This entire show helped me so much. I felt so seen. My life felt so reflected on the screen. So I just wanted to thank you all so much for your work. I'm sure you're getting millions of these types of calls, which is amazing because that show has touched so many people. I'm just now grateful that I can know that maybe the three of you get to hear my thanks and hear my gratitude. Hope you all have a beautiful day. Side note, Mandy, my God, move over Meryl Streep. Girl, you are incredible on that show. Good Lord. Anyway,
That's right, Aaron.
Sterling. Okay. I'm getting all flustered now. Chris, I love you so much. You're hilarious. Y'all
Let's
have a
just
good
call
day.
you back, Aaron.
Let's call
we gotta
Aaron.
call Aaron.
Call Aaron now.
We're going to use Mint Mobile's unlimited minutes.
Let's do it.
And talk to Aaron for
Come
a
on.
couple hours.
Let's
here.
talk to him.
Hello?
Aaron, you are speaking with Chris Sullivan.
Mandy Moore.
This is Aaron. Oh, no, I'm Sterling. I'm Sterling. You're Aaron. What's up, dude?
Doing good. This is fantastic. How y'all doing?
We're doing very well. Thank you for your
We
lovely
just
voicemail.
heard
What a
your
gorgeous-
incredible message. Thank you for taking the time to leave it for us.
Yeah, I
We're so
got
touched.
emotional and rambly by the end, but
No, not at all, bro. Everything that you said hit straight to the heart. Thank you for your kindness and sort of insightfulness in terms of how the show impacted you. It's something that never gets old for us. Like truly knowing that people have been touched and moved, feel seen, and sort of just like makes you want to be a better person. Like, thank you for letting us know that it touched you. That's it. Yeah.
Oh man, just leaving that voicemail, being able to give my gratitude to y'all for what this show and your performances gave me was enough. Yeah, let's go. It's like you said, I have never felt more seen than I have while watching This Is Us. It mirrored my life in so many ways. It was just unbelievable.
Wow. Can I ask how'd you actually find the show?
Yeah.
My friend Sam, shout out to my friend Sam, reached out because the two of us actually were big fans of the show Smallville. So we knew Justin from
Yeah. Okay.
Smallville. And he's like, hey, man, there's a new show about adoption and it features Justin, the Green Arrow. I'm like, all right, I think I've heard about it. I've heard it's kind of emotional. Like, let's take a dive in. And like I mentioned in my voicemail, I am a Latino man who was born in Colombia and then adopted into a white family here in the States.
Yeah.
Living in a very white neighborhood. My whole life I've suffered from crippling anxiety, crippling panic attacks.
Sorry.
I'm an alcoholic. I'm now currently in 5 years of sobriety.
Congratulations,
Congrats,
bro.
man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I met my biological mother as an adult. And so within a couple of episodes of watching this, I was just like, okay. Like,
You're like, is someone spying on my life?
there were so many moments where I just was like, the show perfectly encapsulated exact moments from my life. I just was hook, line, and sinker. And yeah, I've been a fan of the show since day one.
Did the show help you, like, enable you to have certain conversations, like things that you saw depicted on screen, or what Randall was going through or what Kevin was going through? Did it help you have conversations with family or friends, or just to be able to say, like, this is so wild, this feels like my life, and being able to direct people to what was happening on the show?
Yeah, I think it definitely gave me more. I mean, I think since kind of, going through recovery, I've become much more of an open person. When you go to AA meetings and you hear people share and you share, it just helps you become more open human being. And I'm a musician. And so I had written a song about meeting my biological mom. And it was one of those I wrote for me. I put it out there, I released it, but then we never, like, I play with a band, we never played it live. And then this show just feeling so seen, the adoption story, especially the transracial component of the adoption story, made me like, okay, like, I kind of want to, if they can share this and I can feel seen, I want to pay that forward. So I started playing that song more and more at shows. And then I've had people come up to me being like, I've never heard songs about being a transracial adoptee like this. I had one person come up to me and say, like, hearing this song made me like, I'm going to start the look for my family. Wow. And so the show gave me the courage to do that, which has just been fantastic. That I can also help in some way, help people feel more connected to their story.
You said the song is out right now. What's the name of the song?
Yeah, it's called Up, Up, and Away.
And what's the name of your band?
We're called Lindstrom and The Limit.
Okay.
I wrote it Up and Away is kind of back to the Smallville thing. It actually goes, the only thing I'd seen really I connected to when it comes to adoption in television was Smallville. Because if you look at the core of it, Superman's and
Sure.
American immigrant story. It's someone who comes from far away, doesn't know where he comes from, and then becomes this strong hero because of the family that raised him.
Yeah.
So I could really, that's why I loved that show. And then This Is Us came and hit a little closer to home.
Wow. I love that.
Dude, this is, thank you for your message. Thank you for playing it forward. Like, so much of what our lives as artists is taking the pain, taking the tough times and trying to turn it into something beautiful so that there can be a shared experience, So much of it means like if somebody else can see what we've done, somebody can hear what you've done, they know they're not in it by themselves. So thank you for being a consumer and for being a creator as well.
Oh, thank you so much. The elegance y'all told the story of being a transracial adoptee was just so spot on perfect. Especially, I know y'all are still in season 1, but later on, like when Randall goes to the support group for adoptees, that whole scene just floored me. Especially like growing up, I'm dark brown skin. I'm clearly a Latino, but I grew up in a white neighborhood. I don't really speak Spanish that well. And so when I go to Colombia, I get, everyone's like, oh, he's the gringo. He doesn't really know Spanish.
Right.
And it's that sense of, I guess I don't quite belong here. But then up here in the States, just being in the States and being brown, you get told quite frequently you don't belong here as well.
Yeah.
And so just that like juxtaposition of where do I fit in was represented so well in the show. And every time something would happen, it just made me feel seen in a really beautiful way.
Bro, I tell you where you fit in. You fit in right here with this group. You fit in with us. We love you and we appreciate your vulnerability and sharing.
Yeah.
You're a beautiful man, A.A. Ron. I can't see you, but I'm hugging you, through the phone right now. You and all your beautiful brownness. So thank you, bro, for sharing with us.
Thank you for your candor and your vulnerability, and thanks for following along with us. And congrats on all the exciting stuff you have happening in your life and with your music and art.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you for all of your, the storytelling is beautiful. And then all of your portrayals of the characters, like, come on. Like I said in my voicemail, Mandy, good Lord, like your acting is just like unbelievable. You don't even think of
very
like
kind. Thank you.
it's just fantastic. Chris Sullivan, your suaveness.
Yes.
Come on!
Yes.
My
Yes.
man, it's the line. If my boo comes with baggage, I'm paying the handling fee.
Oh, yes.
Dude, that is just like, come on.
Completely improvised. Came up with that one off the.
It's a line you've used in person.
Thanks so much.
God bless you, brother. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for chatting with us today, Aaron.
It's made my day. Thank you all so much for everything you do.
Wish you all the best, bro. Peace, man.
Bye.
Bye.
You
What
guys.
a guy.
I'm telling you. These things, this emotional support hotline, are they supporting us emotionally?
I know.
Or are we supporting them? Or maybe that's just it. Maybe the circle
It's cyclical.
is just like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You
Each
feed them,
feeds.
they feed you. Yes, I agree.
We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you very much. Bye. That Was Us is filmed at The Crow and produced by Rabbit Grin Productions and Sarah Wareheim. Music by Taylor Goldsmith and Griffin Goldsmith.